So basically, we have 2 weeks to do 21 tasks. Scratch that 20, Soz can't do the photo workshop till January. Anyway, the first task was make a tweet review on an exhibition. What better one to do that the Turner Prize, on the day after specializing loophole. So here it is. It reads the Turner experience, didn't get followed like at the Tate, loved the Red Room and would go again with a 7/10 rating. For the second task, I taught my brother how to fry food. Here is an image of him here. Even though he is close in age to me, he is always able to lengthen this disparity by not being able to do simple things like cooking. So here is me attempting. Attempting being the main emphasis here on teaching him how to fry some juicy prawns. Enjoy.
No, that oil, not that oil. Come on, common sense, auntie. Which oil? Sunflower oil.
Big motherfucking soldier in that bottle.
Auntie.
Oh, I apologize. How much?
I'll tell you to stop, yeah? Ooh. So pick the back, make sure it's battered properly.
Yeah.
Yep, let it. And why are you using a squeaky?
Talent.
Okay. Hey!
That's a bit of a Vaseline.
I combined 2 tasks, task 9, creating a positive impact on the environment, and task 13, spending 3 hours on a worthwhile cause together. For me, food is an integral part of my day. Without it I don't have joy. So why not bring this joy of food to other people that I live with, who have been working the whole day to provide for us, and create a more positive impact on the environment where I live, my own home. For me to make the 3 dishes in the time period of 3 hours, I slow cooked the lamb I had for 2 hours in a broth, that later became a base for the noodle soup. I then batter and marinated some prawns for an hour and batter it, and helped my brother learn to fry, which as you can see from earlier was flop. I then batter some onions to make onion rings that my mom and older brother loved as well. Not only did it make her happy that she didn't have to cook food then, but it meant leftovers for another day. I don't usually have the time to make food in the week, but I will try often to do so now because it seems to be a big help to my mum. The 4th task was create an artwork that destroys itself. So I designed a floral pattern on a piece of filter paper and made my friend smoke it. What I found out was by doing this she became disgusted by the foul taste the cigarette had, because towards the end the ink had a prominent flavor. No exaggeration. Here is a short movie on how the smoke break went, which is task 5, and here's a link to that below. The lecturer I infiltrated was at Kent University for psychology. I went up on Wednesday to see one of my friends that is doing psychology, and I was able to sneak into her lecture. If I'm being perfectly honest, I didn't understand a lot of what was going on. Neither did my friend, which is kind of disconcerting. I took some notes on social psychology. Social psychology is the scientific study of how people's thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are influenced by the actual, imagined, or implied presence of others. The terms thoughts, feelings, and behaviors include all of the psychological variables that are measurable in a human being. In simplified terms, how we are influenced by others' presence, like a teacher's presence, tends to encourage the performance of students. Well, that is what my notes said. I was there for a matter of 15 minutes before I sneaked out and left to stay in her accommodation. I didn't feel comfortable there, and obviously I wasn't supposed to be there. Here is some images of me at the printmaking workshop. I'm really interested in a taglio. For task 17, I had to make a drawing that can't be photographed. I initially started by drawing a subject from my imagination with no reference. I then thought, why not take it more in a literal sense of what I physically can't take a photo of. I then thought of death, a subtle recurring theme in some of my pieces. So I decided to draw an image of me dead in a coffin. The drawing contains some insects and some eaten decayed flesh. This might be morbid, but death has become something I have slowly been coming to terms with, and I have been thinking about how this fact then affects my standards of living or the things I want to do. Let's jump to the third task. Create a new sound work by editing together pre-existing sound recordings. I titled this Umps Umps Music, inspired by that tragic repetitive music that London clubs used to encourage hand pumping and jumping in their youth, and 32-year-olds still looking for fun on the Friday night. For the 11th task, the protest without words, I decided I might just use emojis and numbers as visual indicators to the thing I'm protesting, which is about leniency on age restrictions. For most people looking, these emojis carry the emotion or explanation that they want to convey to others. But I then thought, how can I use images I already have of people to protest things? I have a lot of people doing actions, smoking, drinking, and I thought, how can this be meant to protest? I decided to put numbers on them to see if this meant anything to people and if it came across as their age. Some got it, some didn't. The labeling of the people's ages might not be true, but it got across the message I wanted. It also helped me with task 13, which is take a picture that is a lie. These numbers are meant to indicate age and all the subjects are 18 plus. To continue on task 13, I took a picture of my real hair poking out. This is the true length of my hair, that is usually encased in a protective style, like the blue braids or the kinky hair faux locks I have on now. To protect my hair in the winter time, I always have it this way so it doesn't dry out. It is the best thing for my hair growth. For the 6th task, my friend had coincidentally invited me to go to Ethiopian restaurant as she wanted us to experience her culture more, and afterward had invited me to go to a club that I had never heard of called the Simmons in central London. Here is a short clip of the food. With this task I recorded mostly on Snapchat so it could save fast and instantly. The night was fun and it helped with the manifesto, which was another task. To reconnect with those I hadn't in years, months, days. See how they are, if they're good and what's going on in their lives. Cause I realized when thinking about the manifesto that not every day is promised for all of us, and I should make sure the people I know are alright. Task 10 was a flop. I wanted to combine two tasks together, the task about an item destroying itself and the negative mold task, but the outcome wasn't what I expected. Here are some of the images from the failed task that I plan to do over the weekend. For the 7th task, I decided to paint on the sticky side of the tape, as the sticky part is not traditionally used in an art context unless to stick down. Initially I wanted to paint on soil, but then thought otherwise, as it wouldn't be a permanent piece and I would be using soil that could be used for more purposeful things. Like my DIY piece, I looked on work that I wanted to elaborate on. First I did an abstract piece of 3 subjects, but they weren't the outcome I wanted. I came across a pencil study I had done in year 13 of a lynching after getting my books back. Some will find this disturbing, but this was a reality. Sometimes the things that you don't want to know or see should be shown and made prominent so there is more awareness of the subject matter and less naivety. I first sketched out using a black pen and then went over with some black acrylic paint. Initially for the 15th task I was going to create a ring around the same height as me, which was 5'7", some might say it's 5'8". I don't know TBH. I was also going to incorporate some hand knitting that I hadn't done in years. As from the DIY store I got 2 balls of wool, A2 paper, a few sticks. For less that a $5. But later on in the first week I decided that I want to sculpt a face that I originally had done in A-levels multiple times using another material, tape. I did this on a whiteboard that was larger, that's me. At first I thought the imagery was not to my liking. Also with the way I did the tape, it kept falling off. I left it for a few days, ripped the face off and started again. During the time away from the piece I hand knitted some pieces that were in essence longer than my height to incorporate a sculpture that is larger, speech marks, than myself. For the 16th task I decided to use spare bits of hair extensions that I could have thrown away after making a wig that I had. I thought it was an unusual material to make a sculpture out of, cause its purpose function is to accommodate our hair needs. I first thought how is structured, why we use it for, and how can I use it in an unconventional way. I thought about the billion-dollar industry it is used in, and I instantly thought of money. So I decided around an African print bag, which represents not only the money used on these products, but for the large demographic who use these types of extensions. Why not create different hairstyles, like Senegalese twist, single plaits, and format different textures to show its versatility and how it is used in my life and others. I collaborated with somebody from 3D Miles Green and we wanted to make some sort of blade. This was through discussion we had and how we can incorporate our two specialisms together. Initially we thought of making a miniature knife, but with Miles's progression in 3D he was able to make a larger model. The blade looks like this at the moment. Personally I want to add more detailing to it, but right now it is usable on soft objects like paper. Through this collab I learned how to develop ideas with someone better. Maybe that is because we have known each other for a longer time. I learned how to look at scale more tediously and I learned a lot about compromise whilst doing this project. We both might not have the same initial ideas, but through collab we will always have to have a joint outcome.